Hi, it's Alaska Granny. We know that food equals security and that it's important that we have emergency food on hand, additional food in our stockpile. We try to stock up so that we have enough food going forward so that no matter what happens, you'll be able to feed your family. What if you lose your job? What if you run out of money before you run out of month? What if there's some disaster in your community and the stores can't open? There are all kinds of things that can happen, and if you read the news, there are concerning events that are going on all over the world that can lead us to believe that there could be not only rising prices, but there could be shortages, and we may not be able to get all of the food that we want. I think of prepping as lifestyle insurance. I always want to be able to have enough food on hand. I want to be able to feed myself and my family. So I think it's important to make sure that I have a stockpile of food. If you don't have any food on hand, try to think about getting a few days worth of food, then maybe a few weeks worth, a few months, and even more. Have enough food on hand that you know you'll be able to provide meals for your family for an extended period of time. So even if you come home from vacation and you don't have the strength to go to the store, let alone it's some kind of a weather emergency and you can't go to the store, you can still throw up in your pantry and continue to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner for your family. And then it allows you to regroup into whatever kind of a challenge that you're facing. If you can provide the basics of your meals, then you can figure out what to do with whatever hardship or challenge that you're facing. Something to be aware of is that 28% of the global population faces moderate to severe food shortages, food insecurity. There just isn't the food available to people in many parts of the world. We know that there can be people in our own communities that don't have enough of the resources that they need. That's why we have things like food stamps, WIC programs, and food banks. But while we are in a position that we're able to have enough food provided for our family, wouldn't you want to add a few things to your stockpile so that you don't join that group of population that has food insecurity? I don't ever want to have to depend on the government, for example, FEMA, in an emergency situation, because I didn't take the time to provide for my family. So my recommendation is that you stock up on foods that you're willing to eat, they're easy to prepare, and you know what to do with them, and that your family will eat them. Because the food you stock up on shouldn't just be stuck away in a pantry for who knows when. It should be foods that you use, rotate, and replace. It should be a part of the foods that you're willing to eat, you know how to prepare them, and that you enjoy eating them to a certain extent. Don't stock up on food because it's cheap or someone else said that's a good food to have in your prepper pantry. If it's not something you're willing to eat, or something you don't even like, or you have no idea what to do with it, that is a waste of not only your grocery dollars, but your pantry space if you're storing things you don't know what to do with and you're not willing to eat. So add those foods that you like to eat so that you will. What can you do if other people find out that you're a prepper and they realize you have food on hand? Sometimes we are concerned that people will, in times of hardship, they might come to us and we're not sure how we feel about others feeling that they can rely on us or use us as a resource. And in some terrible kinds of situations, people are concerned that someone could know that they have food and come and steal it all. I don't think roving bands of criminals coming to steal all of my prepping supplies is something that I really see as a threat in the future. But we know people are nosy. We know that they're curious. And we know also that if people know about you, they talk about you as well. So if people find out that you have a supply on hand, they might just be spreading it around to the neighbors or to friends, people you don't even know. They'll be saying, oh, I've got this neighbor that has all this stuff. And so we want to try to avoid that by being discreet. We want to make sure that if we have supplies on hand, we keep it on the down low. It's personal, it's private information. But if someone should find out and they ask you about it, you want to remain calm and maybe offer a little bit of information like, well, I'm concerned that the prices are going up so high and I may not be able to afford extra food in the future, so I'm putting some aside for now. We can take it as an opportunity to educate others and to explain and maybe give them a little bit of advice on how to start being a prepper. Do you have any food on hand? Maybe you want to have some pancake mix, a box of cereal, or a few cans of soup or chili, so that you don't have to worry if, say, there's a snowstorm and you can't get down to the grocery store. Then you can go in your pantry and have something to eat. If someone should come because they're concerned that they don't have enough, maybe it's a good chance to maybe offer to give them a little help. You can say, well, I have 6 cans of soup. That's all that I have, but I'd be willing to give you one so that your family won't go hungry today. And then we can explain, my resources are limited. I need to be able to take care of myself, but if you're truly in need, here's something that you could take home and have to eat. Maybe you could offer them some dried beans and rice. You might find out right away that your friends are too picky and they don't want that. They want something better. And that's how you know also who you are willing to help in an emergency situation. If they're not willing to take the basics that I would have, you're too good for that? Well, I guess I can't help you. Head on down the street and see what other neighbors have on hand, or head to that food bank. Also, you might explain, this isn't prepping gear, this is camping gear, hunting gear. We like to go fishing, and that's what we have that supply for. That's not for prepping. Prepping is for nutcases. You can always deflect. Try to explain away why it makes sense that you have some things. Not that you're over-prepared so that you could be someone who is a resource to others. You need to make it clear, I just have enough for my family. I can share a little bit, but that's it. And then that's just all there is. So the bottom line is, there's no real way to know who could become a criminal or a looter. We just don't know. And if you've ever watched any of the true crime television shows, you can see people turn on their loved ones. People turn on their neighbors and their friends. The people they think they can trust the most turn out not to be trustworthy, and sometimes with terrible consequences. So while we can't always know what other people are thinking or what they're capable of, we can know that we need to be able to provide for ourselves and our families. And then we need to try to be as discreet as possible. Keep your things put away, keep it on the down low, and try not to overshare. I know I personally don't need to go kiss the Blarney Stone, which gives you the gift of gab, because I have plenty of that. And I think my family, some of my family members wish that I would unkiss the Blarney Stone, but that's another story. Let us know in the comments below, what suggestions do you have of what kind of things we should prepare for? We don't want to become part of the statistics of people who don't have enough to eat, who have food insecurities. We want to be able to provide for ourselves and our families. We also, as concerned as we might be for others, we need to remember that we're providing for ourselves and our families. We can help a little bit, but we have to figure out how to navigate that path so that we don't overshare and we don't become a victim. I hope you'll like my video. Please share it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.